Payback analysis. If you want a further explanation of payback analysis and look at the example that we're actually going to do in Excel, look at page 50 of your book. Objectives for this particular presentation, number one, is what is payback analysis? We're going to look at what it is and what it's not and why it's so important. And then we'll talk about how to use Excel to calculate the payback time period. So what is a payback analysis? It's basically the amount of time a company needs to recoup the cost of a project. In other words, when does the project actually start making a profit for the company? It's one of several approaches used to evaluate different projects against each other. So one of them is return on investment, one of them might be net present value, and this one is probably the most easily understood by people who don't understand finances a great deal. It's always expressed as a time, a number of weeks, months, or years, and I'll give you a guideline. If the project doesn't pay for itself, it probably will not be considered viable. In other words, the company's not going to do it. So how do we calculate the payback time? Well, first of all, we need the average benefits. Now, this is the average over the period of useful life of the project itself. So we may want to take a look at increased revenue over that life period. In other words, if we're going to use this particular piece of software that we developed for 5 years, then it would be the increased revenue over those 5 years. Same way with the competitive advantage. Now, competitive advantages may not last long, but it's going to be one of those advantages. All these things are quantitative. In other words, we're going to give them numbers. So we're going to have increased productivity. May be in there. Increased retention certainly is a good benefit, and cost savings may be a good benefit. We're going to take all of those benefits and average them out over the lifespan of the project, and then we're going to take a look at the total cost of the project. The formula for the payback time is total cost divided by average benefits over the life of the project. Let's get into Excel and find out how to do that. Here's a spreadsheet that I've designed. This is just a framework. There's no formulas in here. And we're going to go through and put those formulas in. Now, this is not a course in how to work Excel. If you need to know how to do that, then you need some other videos on YouTube to figure out how to do it. But the idea is this is a specific application of the cost benefit data, and we're going to calculate the payback analysis from this particular set of data. I'm going to first of all put in our cost, and let's say that we buy a truck or a piece of heavy equipment. It's going to cost us $100,000 for the first year because that's the purchase, and then it's not going to cost us anything after that because we've already got the truck. So first thing I want to do is make sure that I've got all the original costs and all the original benefits in there. And let's say we've calculated the benefits, and each year we are able to get about $50,000 worth of benefit from that truck. Now realize that this is going to be over a long period of time, much longer than 3 years, but we're just going to say it's 3 years. Now let's go ahead and sum up each of the costs, and then we're going to get the cumulative per year. So if we go to cell B7, we can then say, okay, I want to auto sum. So I can go to formula and auto sum. And it says, is this what you want to auto sum? I'm just going to select that by saying yes. So I'm going to press enter. And there's my sum. I'll do the same thing over here for benefits. So I'll auto sum. And that's my benefit. We want to get accumulated cost per year. So I'm going to take the first cell here and say that's going to be equal to, that's how we put a formula in there. So I'm going to say this equal to, and it's going to be equal to, and I'm going to go down here and click in this particular cell. So the first cumulative cost is right there in B4. Not a problem. I'll press enter, and that reflects my cumulative costs. Now, the next time I put in a cost here is going to be accumulating the first and second year. So I'm going to say this is going to be equal to the first year, which is this, plus, I'm going to press the plus on my numeric entry keypad, and then the cost accumulated in the second year. And I'll press enter. Then I've got that, so my cumulative cost is still the same. It's still $100,000. It's not going to change. I'm going to put a formula right here for the third year, and I'm going to say that's going to be equal to, and it's going to be equal to this cost plus this cost, and I'll press enter, and it's there. So my total cost is $100,000. My cumulative cost stays the same every year. What about my benefits? Well, let's do the same thing. Let's put our formulas in here, and we've got this cell is going to be equal to, and it's going to be equal to this amount. So I just clicked in there and I put that in the formula, and I'll press enter, and it's there. The second year, I'm going to say this is going to be equal to this benefit plus this benefit. Press enter, and it's there. The third year is going to be equal to this year's benefit plus the current benefit. And I'll press enter. And now I have my cumulative benefits. So now, how do I get my payback? Well, let's get a number, and then I'm going to show you the graph, which is what you really want to do. We're going to calculate here our formula. Now, don't forget our formula is written down here. It's the total cost over the average benefits. So let's calculate our payback period. Our formula is down here. It's total cost divided by average benefits. Now, it's average benefits, so that's going to be the benefits over the 3 years. So in our cell, we're going to say this cell is going to be equal to our total cost, which is right here. So that's B7. I'll click in B7, and it puts it right there in the formula. And then I'm going to put a slash. That means divide by. And now, because I'm going to have to calculate the average, I'm going to go ahead and put a paren. And an average is a total divided by the number of years that we're actually looking at the project lasting. So I'm going to say my total benefit is 150K. And it's going to be divided by, now this is inside the parentheses, so it's going to happen first, divided by, and I'm going to say right here in A6 is going to, and that's going to pick up the number 3 as the years in benefit. So I'll close the paren, and I'll press enter, and it looks like our project will pay for itself in 2.0 what? Well, our unit is up here, that's years, so it's going to be 2.0 years. Although this is the mathematical way of looking at it, let's go ahead and look at it the way that is the best for the customer to understand. So I'm going to go to Insert. And an insert, I can actually make a line chart, which is what I want to give my client. So to prove the viability of my payback analysis, I'm going to give them not just a number, but I'm going to give them a graph. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to calculate the costs. So I'm going to select and graph the cumulative costs right here. And then I'm going to graph the cumulative benefits. Now, the way I do that is I select the cumulative cost, including the title of the column, and then I come over to here and I hold my control key down, and I then select the cumulative benefits. Now, we're not going to graph the totals. We're just going to graph the numbers. Then I'll come up here and say, okay, give me a line graph. And I'll just take the first one, which is a nice simple line graph. And here is my line graph. You can see that it crosses at the 2-year point. This is more likely what your clients will understand. And the nice thing about this is that it's simple, it's easy to see, and the benefit is that it's graphically represented to show that your answer of 2 years is not just a guess, it's actually going to be there. The blue is our cumulative costs, and the red is our cumulative benefits. They cross at the 2-year point, which is, in fact, our payback time period.